Hello and welcome to the first lesson of this class where I'll give you a more in-depth look at what we'll be creating, and we'll also go over the class project so you can see what you need to create when taking this class. You'll also learn why I chose this project, how it might be beneficial for you, and also what you need to do to get started. So let's begin. This is the final landing page that we'll be creating, and as I was saying in the introduction video, this is for a mobile budgeting app. Now this is of course a fictional product, and these images here are just placeholders. They're demo images taken from a UI kit. But let me quickly walk you through what we have. So at the very top we start with a hero area that has a selection of screenshots from the app, as well as our navigation and content. Scrolling down, we find the first section for features, where each feature is displayed in this grid manner. Then we have a second section for features. Moving on, we have a small call to action, and that's followed by the third section for features. And then we have a screenshot gallery. That's followed by testimonials. And finally, we have the main call to action and pricing table. And at the very end, we have a footer. So this might look like it's a lot of work, but we'll take things step by step. We'll break down this page into smaller, manageable chunks, and we'll do one section at a time. And you'll see that it's really not that complicated to create something like this. All right, so now for the class project. Your task will be to create a landing page starting from this wireframe. And I'll show you this in a little bit. This is the same wireframe that I'm starting from, and you'll need to do the same to end up with this. Now, your final product doesn't have to look exactly the same as mine. I'm going to show you one way to do it, and obviously you can follow exactly what I do and end up with an identical result. That's totally okay, but I do encourage you to experiment a little bit and put your own spin on things. So for example, you might want to use a different set of colors, or you might want to use a different set of typefaces. Maybe arrange elements differently in the page. I'm gonna give you all the tools you need to do that, and I'm gonna show you how to use those tools. But in the end, it's really up to you to determine how you want this final result to look like. Now, let me show you how you can do that. First of all, I've put together a landing page starter kit. You'll need to download this first. Inside the starter kit, we have some brand assets, which essentially are just two versions of the placeholder logo that we'll be using. We also have some demo images that we'll be using. And then we have a project brief. So the project brief is a PDF document, and this resembles something that you would receive from a client, right? Our client is a fictional one. It's called Num Inc. And inside the project brief, we have some background on the client and the company. We have the taglines that we need to use for this project. So I assumed that the client's marketing team put together this document, and they basically just gave us everything we need. What kind of taglines to use, what kind of titles, subtitles, button text to use for the call to actions. Everything is here. And then they kindly laid out some product features for us. And you can see that the features are categorized. And then we have individual features. We can see the feature title, description, and so on. Everything is here. Then we have pricing information for the product, some testimonials, and then the proposed page structure. And finally, at the end, some design considerations. So what kind of colors does the client like? What kind of style can we use for the design? Also, what kind of websites does the client like? And you can see they sent us 3 examples here. So this is, again, typically the kind of document you would receive from a client when doing a project like this. And at any point, you can come back to this project brief and learn all the details you need. Now, based on that project brief, I went ahead and designed this wireframe. And a wireframe is basically a sketch. It's a low fidelity representation of the final product. You don't have to take this literally. A wireframe just serves as a starting point, as a guideline. It's there to show you what kind of content you need to add to your page. It doesn't mean that the layout that we used in the wireframe needs to be in the final product. So for example, the layout for this hero section just shows me an image on the right and the content on the left. But if we look at the final product, we can see that we have an image on the right and the content on the left, but it doesn't resemble anything like this. Or look at this section. This is for the features. In the wireframe, I imagine that maybe we need to have some kind of image here on the left and then the features on the right. But on the final result, we don't have that image on the left anywhere. We just have a grid of icons. What about the other section for features? Here's how it looks in the wireframe, and here's how it looks here. Here I added an image that wasn't here in the wireframe, and I also chose to display these features like so. So I hope you understand what I'm trying to say here. Use the wireframe as a guide for the content that you need to use, not the actual layout. Now, in the starter kit, you will also find a resources.pdf file. And in here, you'll find a complete list of resources that I used in the design, like the logo, the images, the icons, illustrations, and also some useful links. So whenever you cannot find a resource that I used, make sure to check back to this document and you'll definitely find a link there. Now, how do you get started and get everything set up for the main lessons? Well, first of all, you need to download this starter kit. You'll find a link to it in the class description. After you do that, go ahead and create a Figma account. So go to figma.com, and if you don't have an account, click sign up and follow the instructions there. If you do have an account, then simply go ahead and log in. Step number 3 is to open the starter kit or the starter Figma file that I provided. Let me show you what that looks like. It's a relatively blank Figma file with 4 pages that I made for you. The first page is the wireframe, and you can use this to quickly check what you're doing. The second page is for colors, and I'll show you how to edit these once we get to the next lesson. Third page is for typography, and I went ahead and created these frames for you so you know what you need to fill in. And then we have one page for the main design. This is where we'll create the actual design for the landing page. So go ahead and open this file and you can start working directly in it. Now, the fourth and final step is actually optional. You can download Figma for the desktop. As you can see right now, I have Figma opened in the browser, and you can work like this, no problem. The result is exactly the same. But if it's more comfortable for you, you can download Figma for desktop. And you can do that by going to figma.com/downloads, and under desktop app, choose the one that you want for macOS or Windows. And after you do all of this, you're ready to go. Now, you might be asking me, Adi, why this project? Why a landing page? And the answer to that is very simple. For this class, I wanted you to learn, number one, how to work in Figma, and number two, the process of going from a client request to a finished product. And a landing page is pretty simple, right? It's just one page. You don't have to worry about complex elements that you would normally find on a website. And it's quick and easy to do. And I wanted this project to resemble a real life scenario, right? So you start from a project brief, you start from a set of wireframes. These are things that you would normally get or you would normally use when you're interacting with your client, right? And the client gives you all the information you need in the project brief. And based on that, you build the wireframe, and based on the wireframe, you design the actual page. This is, I think, as close to a real life project that you can get in a class like this. So hopefully you'll be able to use the information you learn here and apply it in future projects. Now, as you're taking this class, I strongly encourage you to post your results in the project gallery. I want to see your results. I want to see the projects that you're making. As I was saying, I would like you to experiment and to add your own spin on things. It's totally fine if you follow exactly what I do. Go ahead and post that. But if you want, just feel free to add your own colors, your own typefaces. Let me see your own vision for creating this landing page based on that wireframe, right? So go ahead and post that in the project gallery, and I will give you feedback for it if you want. I would just love to see your results. Also, post in the discussion tab if you have any questions or comments. It doesn't matter how simple you think they might be. If there's something you want to ask me, go ahead and do that. I'll answer to each and every one of your questions. All right, so here's what you need to do at this point. Go ahead and set up like I showed you previously. So download the starter kit, create a Figma account, open the starter Figma file, and also optionally install Figma on your computer. Once you do that, you'll be good to go for the main lessons. In the first main lesson will be defining the color scheme. And I'm going to show you a few tools that will help you with that. That's coming up next.